Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, and today we're going to talk about how to live in London as an international student. My name is Askarina, I'm from Indonesia, and I make videos about studying abroad, especially in the UK, and the scholarship to get there. You can check my previous videos here, and if you're new and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, be sure to click the button is down there. And today, since I haven't talked about my experience living in London for a while, we are going to talk specifically about that. And this video is going to be very useful for international students, especially for you who are thinking about studying in the UK or moving to the UK to study anytime soon, maybe this year. And yeah, let's get to the video. So I studied in London back in 2017 until 2018. I studied at LSE with a full scholarship from Chevening, the UK government, and in total I lived there for about 1.5 years, and hands down it was one of the best experiences I've had in my life. And like I said before, today we're going to talk about my life in London, and I think the 3 important things to consider, especially for international students, and they are accommodation, food, and transportation. So the first thing we have on the list is student accommodation. It's probably the hardest thing to secure if you're moving to the UK as an international student, especially to London, because it is expensive. It's just expensive. And it is quite complicated with all of the regulations that they have there, and you know, you have to pay for broker's fee, like agent's fee. I'm not even sure if I'm saying the correct terms, but you can get scammed. It is also very expensive there, I said it again, and it's basically like such a hassle. I myself prefer to stay in a private student accommodation, so it is basically like a dorm, like a student dorm, but it's not managed by the university. It is managed by a private company, like a management building company, and my accommodation was actually a little bit far from where I studied, so it took me more money to spend for transport, which we're going to talk about later, but it is so worth it because with the money that I spent, I get to have the security, the amenities, and just you know, the hassle-free experience, because I know that the management building took care of it for me. Because with a private student accommodation, all you need to do is to basically just look them up online and, you know, maybe schedule an online viewing and then book it online, and that's it. You have secured your place to stay when you're in the UK. One of the best websites to go to when you're looking for student accommodation is amberstudent.com. And thank you for amberstudent.com, who has kindly sponsored this video. So amberstudent.com is basically a website where you can book and look for student accommodation and book from it directly with no hassle, and you can do it from your own country. This is so useful for international students, and they offer various kinds of accommodations, not just for London, but from various cities in various types of forms. So you can just check on their website and look for the accommodation that suits best for you. And another good thing about amberstudent.com is their COVID-19 cancellation policy. And it basically allows you to get a refund from your payment if for any reason your visa is canceled or you cannot go to the UK to continue with your plan studying and living in the UK because of COVID-19. I know a lot of my viewers are international students or aspiring international students who want to study in the UK, and honestly, I think this kind of information is very useful, especially for those of you who are looking for accommodation. Maybe you plan to go this year, maybe you plan to go next year. Be sure to check them out. I'm gonna put their link on the description down below, and you can start looking for your student accommodation. Okay, moving on. Next, we're going to talk about food. And in London, everything is expensive. And so my experience about food was different Then when I was living in Jakarta, in London, I had to cook and learn how to cook, because before that I wasn't used to cooking in Jakarta, where I am living now. And everything is expensive in London. I was living with a student budget. My budget was around £1,300 a month. That's including rent, transport, food, you know, everything that you can think of. I think I spent about 200 to 300 pounds maximum for food, and that's including groceries and dining out, occasional coffee, everything that's related to food. And so I need to cook a lot, and I mostly eat Asian food. I can tell you that the options for Asian culinary in London is varied. You can find a lot of good restaurants, a lot of cheap, good restaurant. Well, cheap for London standard, I mean. One of my favorite fast food chain in London is Wasabi. So it's basically like Japanese, I think it's a Japanese bento fast food chain. And they sell all types of bento box, and my favorite is their chicken katsu curry rice box. Oh, it's so yummy. And I think it costs around £6 or something, but it's very, very worth it, because the portion is so big, and I oftentimes eat them for lunch and dinner. And so with that, if I buy a meal from Wasabi every day, then I'll spend around like 45 pounds a week. And with that money, I think I can buy 2 week worth of groceries. And you know, if I decided to just buy meals outside, that's excluding, you know, other food that I need, like water, coffee, snacks, you know, and groceries basically. So yeah, if I spend 40 on a meal that I buy, ready meal that I buy, it lasts for a week. But if I buy it for groceries, it can last for 2 weeks. So that's sort of like the comparison why in London expect to cook. All right, so the last thing that we're going to talk about is transportation. So when I was living in London, I lived in Zone 3, and LSE, the place where I studied, was located in Zone 1 or Central London, and they're sort of far from each other. If I took the underground, it took me about 20 minutes max. If I took the bus, it took me 45 minutes to an hour, depending on the bus. You know, sometimes there are delays and stuff. And London does have one of the best public transport system maybe in the world, I've heard. However, it comes with a price. It's so freaking expensive. And I remember with a student discount, I spent around £100 for a monthly underground and bus card, and it's already with a student discount. So imagine if you are just a worker there without a senior discount, children discount, student discount, it's even more expensive. But then again, that's because I live from Zone 3 traveling to Zone 1, so they have prices depending on the zones that you're going to travel to. Once I tried to buy just a monthly bus card, because it's almost half the price. I think it's £60 for a month only for the bus card, and you can go everywhere from Zone 1 to Zone 6, but it takes longer, and it wasn't worth it. If you live in Zone 2 or Zone 1 and traveling within those, get a bike maybe, you know. It might be worth it, or you can just, you know, travel by bus. I know a lot of people who just take the bus because they live in Zone 1, they live in a student accommodation within Zone 1, and they study in Zone 1, because most universities, not most, but a lot of universities in London are located in Zone 1. So yeah, you probably want to be able to reach Zone 1. So my tip is to just get the best discount that you can get, but generally it's hard to avoid the expensive prices of transport for London card, because yeah. And yeah, so that was it. Those are the 3 things that you really need to consider before moving to London as an international student. And those are my stories, some tips, and my realities. Tell me in the comment box down below if you have any questions or if you have any comments or thoughts about this video. And don't forget, again, if you are looking for a student accommodation, you can click the link from amberstudent.com that I'm putting on my description box. And if you haven't subscribed, don't forget, click on that button. I'm waiting. Are you done? Thanks. So yeah, I guess I'll see you on my next video. Have a good day. Bye.